welcome once again for all the participants to stay until the last about 30 minutes. Yeah. So in day three, we just heard about a lot of speakers mention about the flow. First of all, the speaker from Aldo mentioned about the milestone plan, how to achieve sustainable development, and also relation to the brand building, and also the material they're going to use, and also about the new product line. And the second speaker, Dr. William Yu, mentioned about how the world about polluted because of fashion industry. And then he called for action. We need to do something, right? So now this session will be finding solution, what we can do. And another speaker, Professor Eugene Fong, okay, mentioned about UNESCO and also the NGO linked up with some of the SDGs achievement in the fashion industry. And the last PowerPoint, he mentioned about AI. So this is very important because when we are going to have the discussion here, Dr. William Tian is the entrepreneur and also technology, not just only fashion. And then he's the technology using in the carbon reduction. And right to me, Sung Yang is the art entrepreneur. Look at his the T-shirt, the drawings. The Sung Yang Gallery has been operated in Beijing for about 16 years, and also he has the gallery in Singapore, and also with New York. So how he can become from an artist to entrepreneur and go to the fashion industry? So maybe I can ask Mr. Sung Yang first. Based on the video, can you tell us what will be technology? 将来的时候，这个科技怎么样放进这个同服装时装发展的有什么的关系啊？
因为我觉得所有的就是关于人类的美学绘画，其实所谓的时尚一直是把人的视觉结合科技的元素，可以进行一种全新的迭代。那每一个时代就是因为人的思想跟他的视觉的迭代产生了不同的价值。就像刚才那个 video art 一样，其实刚才在讲述所有的我的想法和思想的那个人并不是我，是完全做了一个我的全息的一个虚拟人。那我们希望在不同的时代能够用艺术加科技的方式，可以去更好的转换今天的艺术。那我觉得所有的时尚，其实包括我刚才那个背景，是当年我们跟中国的这个敦煌博物馆做了一个艺术的联名。那当时敦煌博物馆的馆长就跟我说，那你用你今天的一种叫 Future Link 的方式，然后去结合了中国100年以前的一个博物馆的内容，那其实就是你用你的绘画艺术加科技的方式缩短了100年的一个时限。所以我觉得真正的这个 fashion 时尚应该是人的视野结合科技的方式创造出新的美学。
Okay, so Mr. Sung's sharing. So I translate into English. So your sharing will be based about the mix and match to create the values. And the mix and match, say for example, the content will be using the Chinese, like for example, Google or some kind of the very artistic and also traditional the paintings. But the thing is, we need to mix up with the Western style, how the way to create, and then mix together, think about the values from your consumer. Can you tell us about your consumer? Say, for example, you are also a producer, right? What will be the major customer to buy your product? Any cultural differences? 在中国消费你的衣服他们为什么会买你的产品呢？跟那个 Singapore 东方的顾客，还有美国，我知道美国都有很多人就穿着你的衣服的。那么中国、美国、Singapore 不同的国家的他们的顾客有什么要求的？
其实区别还蛮大的，因为我在我19岁的时候在Paris 待了8年半。那欧洲和美国我们的客户，比如说像爱马仕，包括像 Nike，包括像一些国际的包括 NSB、Fendi 这样的品牌，他们更多的是基于一种对东方的一种新的美学和东方艺术家的一种方式去买单。但是在中国当下最流行的内容，更多的是偏向于青年人，就是青年人就是我们现在所谓的潮流文化。潮流文化更多的可能在中国现在来讲，就是大概在16岁到26岁之间，就是最有消费能力的这一群人。可能我们的一件 T 恤可能就是1000 1000到大概5、6千之间，那其实也不是一个特别便宜的价格。但是很多国内的这种所谓的追逐潮流的这些年轻人，更多的可能是一下会买3件、5件，甚至最多的他可能买了大概有5万块钱的服装。那对他们来说，原来他的喜欢的东西是一些游戏机或者是一些很好玩的游戏类的东西，但是现在他们通过潮流的方式，然后更愿意为一些中国原创的内容去买单。我觉得其实也是像刚才说的一样，就是这个所谓的 fashion， 可能中国更多的时候，原来大家认为是更多以制造业为主，但是在今天，其实有更多的人通过走出去学习完之后，又重新回来，那又重新跟像刚才说的像NSB 啊、Fendi 啊，包括 Nike 去合作，那我觉得其实是一种中国传统文化的再循环的方式，就是我们走出去学到了更好的技术，然后又走回来，用中国最传统的一些文化和有趣的东西去进行了一个整合。
哦，谢谢。Okay. When we talk about supply chain, will be about 4 M's: materials, machinery, and methods, and also manpower. So based on the sharing from Mr. Sung about mix and match, I think it's about the method is very important, especially we talk about DCM. It's no longer just only talk about the supply chain management, has to be based on the consumers. Because you just mentioned about the teenagers in China, maybe they have a higher consumption power and they're willing to buy your product. And then you also mentioned about the consumers in the Western country, maybe they love to have the Chinese design, Chinese culture, but you have also French style because he used to study in France. So that's why everything will be based on the consumer side, right? Do you agree, Dr. William Tian? DCM, demand chain management, find out the consumers.
What you have created is a fantastic mix. Just like what you do, you're born in China, you now taste the French wine, and now in your blood, now you have becomes the thinking of the French, but you still never forget your origin, because they sell better now. So that's what I would look
value,
at it.
Right?
That's what they say. I mean, it will never have value if you stay in China, right? So now you come back, that's why in Chinese, 进了洋水还是回来的都值钱。
So it means that in the fashion industry, maybe all the time we need to think about mix and match,
Yes.
fusion, co-branding, and think about the values. Because in past 2 days, a lot of speakers and scholars and practitioners, they mention about creating values. But seldom they go in depth what values the fashion industry they wanted. Dr. William, you want to share? Maybe Song Yang, what will be the 价值？你的顾客怎么样觉得你的衣服是有带来很多的价值的？在价值的哪方面？
我是觉得其实中国第一就是我属于80后，就是在80后、90后的这一代人身上，不会像以前的这些艺术家身上有特别重的关于政治的东西，所以其实我们的东西都更萌或者更酷，就是我们即使在像法国的一个像 Saint Malo 那样的小镇，然后我们拿出一个东西，它依然会很好玩，很高兴。包括我们现在跟全球最火的像Live France， 像这个旁边我的那张画是跟 Paul Frank 在美国做的联名，包括我们跟 Andy Warhol 的 Foundation， 就是中国的内容和文化，其实是我们是走出去又走回来，所以其实更多的人买单的是一种新的一种，我认为是一种新的审美的标准，就是去年我们在英国伦敦的这个《每日邮报》评价我们是全球潮流艺术家的排行48，但是我们完全不认识他，但是说明就是除了像 Picasso、Andy Warhol， 还有像草间弥生、村上隆这样的人，那中国现在新一批的艺术家也可以用自己新的一些消费的美学去占领一部分的市场。
谢谢。Okay. So the point Mr. Sung just highlight will be about standardization. Because in the past about fashion industry, we talk about maybe ISO standard using less water or maybe energy. Talking about ISO maybe 14001 environmental management standard. Or maybe when you export your garment to a Europe country, you need to follow about the European standard. But Mr. Sung highlight about what is the standard that your consumer looking for, and also the values. So he also mentioned about the IP is very important, intellectual property right. So William, can you share with us IP and also we just talk about technology, AI, how to put into the fashion industry? Is it from the beginning sourcing the materials, or in the middle about the process for manufacturing, production, distribution, the e-commerce, or at the end for upcycling and then using maybe, I have a case in here I want to mention, using the existing material, but for doing something else, maybe furniture or something else?
Yeah, so based on the current last 7 years of development in blockchain and things, it is no more something that you want to try. Now you're coming to the stage you want to use. So now, for instance, like I like his IP, which is 2 ways of registration IP, a trademark or a patent, because the way he produced it, it becomes a patent. For your information, my partner, which you met, David, actually owns a company, insurance company, that patents 25 million patents from the world. Out of that, 17 million of that actually already on an NFT. And because the NFT becomes a digital format, so we don't actually call it NFT, because the NFT was actually promoted because we're trying to use a simple non-fungible token with an acronym. I produced a movie doing that too, but it's actually digital asset. So even a song, even I'm sending you an email to you, even an email to you in US, that digital asset I sent to you, I can go to court because I cheated you, or I use that, we call wire fraud. So when you have a wire fraud, you need a digital asset. So actually, US is one of the earliest countries in the world to identify digital assets and put into law. So I can say, okay, I just talked to you and I have a recording. And now I can go to court because there's a digital asset there. So now, if this digital asset is minted on the NFT, so that when I was talking to you was today, and I've done it, just like Michael Jackson's when he was actually, I actually met Michael Jackson's one of the managers in Los Angeles. The day before he was acquitted from the so-called child molesting, there was a recording he sent to his manager, and he was on the tape. And he's saying that, I don't know what happened tomorrow. If this happens, what do? That recording never came out because he was acquitted. So what happened now, if that day you have that tape and have put in an NFT, that becomes a very valuable evidence that he actually spoke that. So now he's not here, who knows? So this is like the IP side creates, so everybody didn't understand NFT. NFT is actually the record of time. The first time your granddaughter started to call you Papa instead of Mama, then you're very happy. Then you go to the Mama, you say, oh, your first time Mama. Who comes first? No, I come first because I got NFT. You didn't have the NFT. So
traceability, right?
Yeah, so then
it
is a record
Nobody
of
can
time.
change it.
No, it's a record of time. So my grandfather is not here, but my grandfather tell me story. But how many times your grandfather will tell you story now? Because you don't have a recording, you only have a piece of paper, your grandfather might talk to you, it's gone. So what happened now, if these days your grandpa is still here, talk to him, record it, and my great-grandchildren will know what my great did my grandfather was. So this is why the digitalization, like the IP, this has to be respected. So one of the biggest lawyers I know in Dubai, which is also have the 5 top lawyers over in Dubai, he did, was actually trademark on NFT. So, and also, that is trademark, not the patent NFT. So it's a different 2 category, trademark and NFT. So the rule at the end of the day, why the patent becomes valuable? Because there was an insurance. So now you know why that becomes, the trademark doesn't have insurance. So no, who can vouch? Because as you know, if you want to burn a Picasso painting, you know you get paid by the insurance because it can restore. So not because it's going to burn down, but it might be damaged in some way, but it's restored. But if you don't have insurance, who pays?
Okay, so based on the sharing from Mr. Sung and also William, something comes into my mind will be about the case study. So everybody can see this one, right? So this is an experiment because we're engaging with the artists. So the shim will be a kind of pattern. So we talk about mix and match because as Mr. Sung just mentioned, if we're going to finish with the drawings and then you destroy them, then maybe create waste, 有浪費嘛. if you're going to use your painting and then mix and match with the manufacturer or product development, say for example, this one is sponsored by C-Force Uniform Biotech, and they're very committed in about two things. Number one is about the ESG school, okay? So this one, they use my drawings for the manufacturing, and the other thing is about the recycled material. This one is recycled material, okay? And one more thing is about the digital printing. When we talk about technology, how to reduce energy, how to reduce water, based on the sharing from C-Force, when they're going to do the digital printing onto the jacket, actually it's less energy to be used. So that's why I think, like in the manufacturing area, in the whole supply chain or fashion industry, we need to think about where will be the key point, where the waste coming from, and think about technology, how to mix the waste and convert it into some kind of values that may be good for them. So
maybe I just want to share something which from Australia. One of my patent owner I met because I'm from Victoria Inventors Association. So you know about dot matrix printing that you see everybody do dot matrix printing. You know where it was originated? It was originated to print on wool, and it was actually choose a metallic material. So when you do a metallic material, what does it do? It can be removed. But if you do ink that has maybe chemicals, those you cannot control. So Australia is a very climate, or what they call environment friendly. So that was what we saw. Because you cannot print on wool, so you use chemical dyes and everything. The dot matrix was the first thing, and this was actually bought by the Japanese company. That's how you got the dot matrix printer. But now, that same technology, if you are employed today as a printing, if I want to take off this dye, which is maybe having with environment impact, I can actually use it to recover it metallically. So this is what we call the origination of production. This is what I'm trying to share.
So the last thing, Mr. Song, you want to share with us as a 创业家有什么关于这个 decision making 做这个制作衣服的时候最大的困难是什么啊？
最大的困难就是钱给的不够多嘛，因为我们其实整个艺术是受经济形势影响特别严重的一个行业。我们大概我03、04在北京798艺术区的时候，基本上一个展览可以在北京的3环买2套房，然后经济好的时候，只要你是一个非常好的艺术家，都会有特别大的收获。但是到了07、08年的时候，所有的行业都是 feel down， 所以艺术行业会非常非常的惨淡。但是到了12年的时候，整个美国的经济跟它的整个的股市又起来了，所以中国的经济又被拉起来了。然后到就是基本上我们在17年当中，我们全球签了有差不多450个艺术家，就好的时候你会发现非常好。我们曾经大概在4年前，就是疫情的第1年，我们跟李宁中国的一个非常有名的运动品牌合作，跟敦煌博物馆做的一个官方联名，大概一个产品线，一个 online 的产品线的销售，在1下午可以做到11个亿流水人民币，非常非常夸张。就是我们即使在纽约时装周、东京时装周在说这些案例的时候，依然算很好的。但是呢，当这个经济不好的时候，基本上国内最牛的这些跟 Nike 一样的这些品牌，基本上都是一半腰斩到现在为止。所以我觉得对于整个的创业者也好，或者艺术家也好，最难的是你怎么去抗衡整个经济危机，就是你如何创造出属于自己的这个美学的观点。就为什么其实 Picasso 是从非洲的木雕上学到了 fashion， 然后村上隆是从这个日本的这个浮世绘当中。那我们中国未来怎么能够真正的在全球化当中能够被这些国际化的品牌或者大的 fashion 的品牌去进行更多的内容联名，甚至是出自己的品牌？我觉得更重要的是要有一个全新的方法论，这个方法论是植根于你的民族、你的经济，还有你的这个 对于潮流文化的一种科学的判断，不单纯的只是说什么火我去画什么，而是说我们可能要跟 VR、AI， 要跟刚才的这个数字人、元宇宙要做更多的迭代和融合。所以我觉得未来的对于创作者或者创业者来讲，就是唯一不变的就是变化，就是你要活下去。
That's it. Okay. So as a conclusion, maybe we need to have a mindset for the landscape of the changing the dynamics, because fashion industry will be closely linked up with the economic performance. So if we are going to follow with the trend and then spot where you can find out the sales volume coming from, and then mix and match, and then link up with the artists in order to change, and then think about maybe you can get the way out. So for SDGs number 12, it's about responsible production that we mentioned in the past 2 days. And today we mentioned about number 9, innovation with the AI or maybe blockchain and NFT for the traceability as a trademark. So we can think about in the fashion industry, standardization may not be just only mentioned about ISO standard, maybe talking about the IP or maybe the creation process, and link up with the NFT for the traceability and the transparency. So that may be fashion industry like in the future.
I think also SDG 17, which is actually very important, because in order to get money, you have to make money for those, getting a reason to brand it. So like your fashion will be branded with one of the company's annual charity run or annual project. Yes, so then this is actually cross promotion to this. I think currently, if you look at the SDG, all the 17 goals, I think from my side, I'll look at like 9 and 17, which is actually very critical, because that's where the money is.
Yeah, okay. So maybe we open the floor to the participant to see any questions that you are very interested to know from Dr. William Tan and also Mr. Sung Young from Beijing, from Singapore. So any questions that you want to raise? Oh, Joe. Yeah, thank you. Joe is coming from the technical background, right? About construction, yeah. And now you're interested in fashion industry.
Yeah, yes. Honestly speaking, I came from the construction industry, but I'm very interested in the panel discussion about circular economy and UNSDGs. Related to these two issues, I'm anxious to know how the fashion industry can effectively communicate the importance or attach to these two issues to the customers. How does fashion industry effectively communicate the importance of these two issues to customers?
Thank you.
This is my first question. I'm
Okay.
sorry
Yeah.
for that.
Okay, answer your first question first, and then Mr. Sung Young and also Dr. William Tian can add more information. I think for the education, the community about what fashion or labeling or what kind of material they're using, not just only labeling in the manufacturing process, but has to be ongoing dialogue with social media. Remember day 2, we have a speaker, Ling Wong, which is about social media education, IG. I know a lot of friends and also the fashion designers, or maybe they are doing merchandising. They will open up an IG to educate what is sustainable brand. Remember, Professor Eugene Fong also mentioned about trusted brand. How are we going to educate them? So for teenagers, just like Sung Young's fans, mostly they are very young. So maybe we need to go to the community, how they talk, how they find information. And then from there, you need to educate them what is sustainable brand, materials, bamboo, making the gap between the attitude and behavior to narrow down. Remember another slide mentioned by Dr. William Yu is about the attitude. We want to buy sustainable brand, but however, when you're going to do it, the action may not be, paid that kind of price, right? So that is about the social media for education with trust and values. So now, Sung, maybe 你可以加一点你的分享是什么？关于这个教育我们的消费群组啊，我们的社区的发展，关于这个 fashion 是应该由这个负责任的生产知道多一点的物料的选择，怎么样去教育他们呢？
我是觉得你像法国人、欧洲人，包括意大利人，更多的还是一种就是血液里的，因为你的经济环境、社会达到了一定的标准，其实我觉得有一些东西是包括你的美学，包括你的这个环保的意识，还有科技的很多意识，我觉得是需要整个社会慢慢的逐步去增长的，就是这个很难被教育出来，我觉得
Yeah. So maybe more exposure to the public to see where they are coming from, or maybe sometime between the mass transit, the railway station here with the board, the signboard to educate them, or maybe seminars or like art gallery that you allow people to go in, but without charging them, let them to know more. How about Dr. William?
I believe in the Chinese word "wu" is better than "学," because "wu" is just like something that you actually learn without knowing. So children and old people are the same.
Yeah.
So if like what you just mentioned, how does SDG got to work with the fashion industry? Fashion industry, look at you. You're already 90% covered with your clothing. You can do everything, the branding here. Why are we worried? You can have one from him. You can have one. You just brand Monday to Friday. So it's a matter of who is going to put up the branding. Just like why soccer team, you see in a football in Australia we got Aussie. Everybody wears the same. The competitors wear the other color. You wear this color because you support your team. So the most important is, are you going to support this move? If you're going to support the move, I believe our great artist here will do something, and then he puts up to Hong Kong and says, if you wear this, you support you support ESG 17,
Exactly.
ESG 9. So you got 17, you got 17 days to do this, and it's up to the government to say maybe that we should try one of this, and then. Initially, you might just take it as a marketing, but everybody find, hey, I like 17, I like 12. Then you come up with the different.
Maybe one platform from one SDGs and then engage the fans and
But
then
the
with
FGG
fashion.
is very. I see the SGG, and I mean those are done very commercially. With your artistic, I think the 17 SGG, I will buy a SDG on the 17.
Branding to create the influence, the impact. We need to have the KOL, key opinion leader, with positive mindset to share the message. And then Joe, you have second question?
Yes, I'm afraid the second one is an examination questions. It may be a little bit difficult. And in the last presentation by Dr. Yang, Sherry concluded her talk by saying that in conclusion, the use of bamboo should be the first step forward to fight against climate change.
Yep.
I'm afraid the initiative put forward and jumped that conclusion from the perspective of a fashion industry. I myself have some advantage or some knowledge about construction industry. And in those days or currently, the use of bamboo scaffolds were commonplace in erecting new buildings or in some other renovation jobs, fitting out projects. In those days, we use bamboo scaffoldings. But nowadays, we commonly use metal scaffolds, instead. Because with the bamboo scaffolder, from the profitability point of view, they thought is a complete waste of resources because they just use the bamboo for only 2 times. The third time they throw away and dump it to the landfill. It's a waste of resource in their mind. So I think there's some conflict between the use of bamboo as a material to achieve sustainability. From the point of fashion industry, is put forward to use of bamboo. From the construction industry, there may be conflicting views. What I mean is we should look at the circularity in a holistic view from all other industries, because we don't want to make circularity of fashion industry at the expense of other industry. May I have your views, these experts on the panel, to enlighten us? How do we resolve this conflict? On one industry, it is we should go forward to use bamboo scaffolding. In other construction like industry, we should discourage the use of bamboo. Instead, we should use metal scaffolds.
Okay,
May
thank
I
you, Joe.
have your
Yeah.
views, please?
So, you know, if you walk around, you can see some of the garment branding will be named as bamboo. So I think bamboo can be used in the handkerchief, using a lot of the child kid wear, they're using bamboo. But the thing is linked up to SDGs 4.7. 4.7 is a knowledge transfer. When you just tell me, right, because you come from construction industry, you know bamboo will be for scaffolding, but are we going to use bamboo put into the production process for garment? Not too many people know exactly about the production process, how to extract. So if you have a lot of video, I saw a lot of video how bamboo can fight for climate change, but not too much video with transparency. And then talk about production of garment. Dr. William, you want to add anything on this one about transparency, about knowledge transfer, how to use
I think
bamboo
it based
in the
up like
production?
what Dr. Shirley said is education. The education, we are just lucky just found that you have SDG and ESG. A lot of people still don't know about that. So basically, you go back and tell your wife what's SDG. She says, "Oh, stop cooking," and that is reducing carbon. No, then switch off aircon is reducing carbon. Doesn't do that. It's actually the whole knowledge. Then actually you'll be finding very surprised. The children are actually learning better because they know, they saw polar bear. The teacher is telling them polar bear. Why? Because a polar bear is no good. The environment, the ice melt. Now where the bear go to swim and swim to your country. And then now the polar bear is in the winter zone. So this is actually education. And I see education is still not strong enough here, although government is pushing. I think the education should be start from basics. I believe if you have sons and grandchildren at home, you listen to them.
Okay.
You won't listen to us.
Right. Okay, so almost come to the end of the forum, and we have the final objective, which is about the new skill set, and also talk about the promotion of circular economy for fashion practitioner, what they can do. So Sung Yang, you want to share with us? 你是这个穿衣服的制作人嘛？那么我们有什么的新的知识态度是可以你跟你的同事可以分享的？当你回到北京啊、Paris 啊、Singapore 的时候。
我个人是在我一直认为人生一直是一种循环。就在我特别刚开始想要去创业的时候，我会特别的拘谨和严谨，然后我会看纽约时装周、巴黎时装周去学习很多东西。但是当我觉得就是你越来越适应环境的时候，反而会越来越放松。就像我今天可能刚飞过来，就完全是一个很轻松的状态。所以我觉得可能人生就是要随着所谓的这个 fashion， 就是要适合于你自己，就是适于你而居的一种状态吧。所以我觉得每个人找到自己最舒适的状态，我觉得就 OK 了。
Okay. So the sharing from Mr. Sung will be, you need to think about SDGs number 3, wellness. If you can have your emotion stability, maintain about your happiness, and then you can have a kind of creation process and put it back into fashion industry and think about circular economy. What will be the takeaway of the 3 days forum? And then going back into the fashion industry, what is my daily duties? What is my roles? How I'm going to create something new? So at the conclusion will be about the 4 M's we just mentioned. The key focus will be about method, because the method of sourcing materials, the method of educating the community how to source, how to make, how to dispose, and also how to upcycle, and also the method of thinking like-minded manpower to create a community that they're concerning about SDGs application in the fashion industry. I hope Dr. William Tan
I think the best
is
thing
quite
is,
agree, eh?
I agree, but I think the only thing that we look at if there's a government incentive, is a government grant. You
Policy,
think,
eh?
I think a policy.
Yeah.
He would do that. I would do that because that's why.
Everybody will look at policy, right?
Yes, I think the policy. It don't have to be a lot. It just makes sure that maybe every shirt he sells, he give him half a ton of carbon credits. So now he's actually worth more. Even if at the end of the day, the T-shirt doesn't sell, he's worth X amount of credits.
This is policies. This is incentive. Our forum is supported by the Research Grant Council of the Hong Kong government. So this is also good too. It's a kind of education and channel for our dialogue. Okay. So I think thank you so much for Dr. William Tan and also Mr. Sung Yang from Beijing, from Singapore. And I will pass the time to the MC and hope everybody can enjoy about the 3-day forum from today in DI with our co-organizer, Hang Seng School, Hang Seng University, Russia Christian College, Global Supply Chain, and also the supporting organization for Hong Kong IE, Hong Kong IOE. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.